The call starts the way these calls always do. Hold music, a greeting. You confirm your name. You say you're just checking something, nothing urgent, nothing dramatic. And then, in the middle of a sentence, the tone stays calm, but the meaning shifts. That would be covered, provided that. In that instant, the protection you thought you had doesn't vanish. It pauses. The conditions don't arrive as warnings. They arrive as clarifications, spoken evenly, almost helpfully, as if they've always been there and you're only now catching up. You're not told no. You're told sometimes, depending, as long as. Your situation is still possible, just slimmer than it was 30 seconds ago. You try to steady yourself with what you know. You're paid up. You renewed. The dates are right. Nothing unusual has happened. This was meant to be reassurance, not a negotiation carried out sentence by sentence. But the language has changed. And language is where cover lives. This happens when you call about something that hasn't fully happened yet. A crack creeping across a wall. Water collecting where it shouldn't. A situation that feels like a problem in progress. You ask whether acting now would be covered. The answer opens positively. Then the conditions start stacking. Only if it worsens. Only if it reaches a certain point. Only if it can be described as sudden. The risk is already real. The cover only appears at a threshold. You end the call with more information than you wanted. Not because you were refused, but because the safety you assumed was solid now has boundaries you can feel. And once you hear them, they don't go away. Another version happens after something small but disruptive has already occurred. You call expecting a process. You explain what happened. The person on the line agrees that it sounds like a loss. And then asks questions that tilt the ground. Where exactly was the item? Who else was nearby? How long was it left alone? Your answers don't change the event. They change which version of the event is allowed to exist. The cover doesn't disappear. It reshapes itself around your words. The clearer you are, the sharper the edges become, not to catch you out, to locate the boundary. At some point, you realize the call isn't really about help. It's about classification, happening live. Poems make this even more unsettling. You call about damage you've just discovered. You describe stains, warping, a smell that wasn't there before. The response is sympathetic. Then, the conditions arrive. If it was caused this way, it counts. If it was caused that way, it doesn't. If it's been happening slowly, that matters. If you noticed it recently, that matters too, but differently. Time starts behaving strangely. You're telling the truth, but the truth fractures as you speak. Each detail creates a branch. Each branch leads somewhere else. And the person listening isn't deciding your outcome. They're fitting your words into a structure you never see. What's disturbing is that none of these conditions felt present before you spoke. In silence, the cover felt whole. It only broke into pieces when you tried to understand it. The system doesn't need to remove protection to limit it. It just needs to make protection conditional on interpretations that only surface in conversation. The policy stays unchanged. Your certainty doesn't. By the end of the call, nothing has been approved. Nothing has been denied. But the shape of your safety is different now. It's conditional, balanced on details you didn't realize you were carrying. And the sharpest part is why this works. You made the call because you're careful. Because you believe clarity makes things safer. Because you trust that asking questions strengthens protection. Here, it does the opposite. The cover didn't shift when you called. Your trust did. And the moment you felt responsible enough to double-check was the moment your protection stopped feeling whole.